Recording in progress.
Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I have missed you guys. I've missed having lessons going on and stuff, but it's been a nice break. I've gotten to sing quite a bit over this break, and that's always so much fun. It's just, I feel like I kind of remember who I am when I sing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's who I am. I'm a singer and a teacher, of course. So, and a few exciting things are coming up very soon, and I'm not going to talk about them yet, but I will. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the week of January 12th. And so you have one more week to kind of get back into the school and swing of things and everything. And so then we will start lessons. And then we have the competition coming up, and we have Bring a Friend Week, and we have some fun things in store. And we're going to do another recital homework tour at the beginning of, or the end of this semester, and have our big recital of the year. And it's going to be 2026 is going to be a very good year. And I think I've talked about in the past that I like to have words for each year. Last year was peace. The year before that was luxury. This year it is choice. That is my word of the year. It's being able to have choices in life. And sometimes it feels like there isn't a choice. And so this is big beginnings, big beginnings. It's going to be exciting to see what happens with the school and choice, but then also just personally with choice. And so, and that we can create our own choices, that we are never stuck like sometimes we think we are, but we get to make our own decisions and make our own choices. So I wanted to talk a little bit today, since I have been singing a bunch. I wanted to talk a little bit about making music. One of the things that on TikTok that has just blown up is this idea of not having sight reading in auditions. And I know that that's a controversial thing and a lot of people don't agree. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about this on this channel so that I can talk a little bit more extensively of why I have this position. So again, my position is that we should not have sight reading and auditions to get in schools, to get solos, to get roles if you sing in opera or musical theater. It should be nothing. We should never have sight reading for public facing auditions. And it's not because sight reading isn't really important, and it's not because like I don't think that people should learn the music language. Yeah, we must learn the language. We must. At my school, my teachers, we devote at least 10 to 20% of each lesson to sight reading and to reading music every semester, every lesson. It's really important because it is a language, and we have to be able to understand the language. And if we're working with a conductor, or if we're working with someone, we need to be able to understand what they're saying and have this general knowledge to be a musician, right? At the same time, I think that this society, this world, we put too much emphasis on fast, on getting, we've talked about this in the past, that we have everything at the tip of our fingertips, like Uber coming to pick us up, to drive us somewhere. I mean, I could, all the fast food delivery, Netflix, like all the things that come really fast. So we expect things fast now. But music, by its very nature, is not fast. Now, there are going to be some anomalies out there, some people who learn music really fast, who gets it, if their singer gets into their body really fast and just they can go for it. But I will tell you that that is not the norm. Being a music director since 2012, I see that that is not the norm. The norm is typically that it takes people a lot longer. And I think there's a beauty in that. I think that we expect things too fast, and I think it has been a disservice to us as a society, that we need to get back to being slow and intentional about things. And some of the teachers at school are really intentional about how they teach, and not expecting huge things like right away, but it's incremental. And it's that continuous, like to check in It's just not one of those things that happens really fast. And I think that we expect things to happen really fast. And I think that it gets us so we're not committed to stuff. So in a way, sight reading is the exact same thing, right? Because it's asking you to learn a piece of music really fast and to be able to perform it. And I think that, yes, we should be able to do that. We can't, like I said in a post before, we cannot tell the future. There might be an emergency. Something might come up last minute that we have to be able to learn something fast in the real world. It's just a reality. So we need to be able to fall back on that, be able to use the language to be able to figure out something pretty fast, right? But I think when we have these public facing auditions, it teaches the community, oh, they're doing it in their schools, they're doing it in groups, and so we should be able to give them music fast. And I think it establishes poor boundaries. I think it says you can give me music whenever you want to. And sometimes I felt like in the past that directors do that just to prove something, just to see who can hang and who can't. And I feel like there's some power trips in that a little bit. I don't know. But I think the person who gets the audition, the person who gets in the school, the person who gets the role, who gets the song, who gets the solo, should be the one who does it the best. And it tells me that we are not focusing enough on the actual making music as much. We're focused on the skills. We're focused on the skills, but we're not focused on the actual making music. And I think in ensembles where it's really hard because you become one sound, one piece of music when you are an ensemble, it's really hard to focus on that sound when there's so many other things at play. So I kind of get it a little bit more with ensemble stuff, with chorus and band and orchestra. I kind of get that. But when you're doing solo stuff and you're auditioning for something that's solo, it needs to be who plays it, who not even plays it, but who sounds the best, who is making the music. And that is tough because as far as I'm concerned, nobody 100% agrees on what is a beautiful sound, what is music. We're all going to have different ideas. And that's tough, right? Because that means that we're going to have to make decisions based on subjective things. But I think that's important, right? You have to be able to. We talked a lot about values, right? We talked about where, everybody has their values. I've been really working on personal values this year. And it's a scary thing to be able to work on values that are subjective, that are going to be different for different people. And how can we live in a world where we all have different values? How can we be at peace with each other? How can we live in harmony with people who we don't agree with? It's the same thing with music. How can we come together to judge whatever it is that's a subjective thing for the most part? Now, sometimes it isn't so subjective, but for the most part, it is. And if they're auditioning for something like they're going to school, if there's an audition for something where they're learning still, can you also be able to listen to the music, whatever the audition is, with a future mind there? Oh, this person has potential. I can hear the potential of this person. It's just subjective. And being able to live in those moments where it's not 100% clear and not everybody's going to agree. And I think that that's why people have made sight reading so important and other skills so important, because we're so afraid of disagreeing with each other. We're so afraid of that, of living in that ambiguity. That's like, it's tough. It's tough because that means that you have to put the responsibility on yourself as to be able to explain yourself, even to yourself. Like, why did I make this decision? What is it? Knowing what sounds you hear are making beautiful music. Can you describe a beautiful sound? Can you describe what is beautiful music to you? Can you explain why it is beautiful music to you? I mean, there is so many things, and I think that we will become better musicians and better singers and better just music teachers if we can start being able to explain and describe the sounds more instead of focusing on the skills. It's the same thing in life with relationships, right? We are so focused on, getting rid of trauma, people not being narcissistic, or people, not treating us badly, or whatever. You could go on and on about that. But what it actually does is it's taking apart whatever relationship, whatever thing, it's taking it apart where you don't actually have to be in it. You don't have to take part in it. You don't have to make it better. You don't have to do anything with it. It absolves you of responsibility. And I think that we're so separate from each other now. We are such islands now that we don't have to do the hard work. I just think anytime where we're focused heavily, we're weighing heavily on skills and not the actual doing of the thing, I think there's a problem there. Maybe it's not that we completely throw away the skills, but maybe there is a balance there. And I just think that how we can kind of, with music, start to get away from as much about the skills, although they're important. And again, 10 to 20% of each of our lessons at the school are focused on that. Of course, it's a must. Because even if it's hard for you to read music, even if it's hard for you to sight read, it doesn't mean that you just stop trying. You keep trying, right? But that does not make or break a musician. There are other resources. There are other ways. I think what makes you a musician is, and what makes you get the role or get the audition or get the solo, is who sings. And for singers, musician is who plays the best. And for singers, who sings at the best, who performs at the best. That's how we should be getting these auditions. And then it teaches the community that it's not all about who can do what fast, because that doesn't make a musician. It's part of it, but it does not make a musician. It does not make any musician less worthy if they can't do it. So it's the same thing with relationships. It's the same thing with connecting with others. We might say things the wrong way. We might unintentionally hurt each other. But does that mean that we just give up on relationships altogether? It has definitely been a tactic. It has definitely been something that I just understand that thinking very much. Because it's like, why bother? Why bother when it's going to be the same story? It's going to be people not having done the work. I think it's a way for us to be disconnected and separate. So I think this sight reading thing is more than just about music. I think music is more than just music. I think it's a reflection of life. And I think that we are too focused on what's fast, and that we are actually holding that as to whether or not someone is an actual musician or not. No. If you put that into the relationship with somebody who's worthy of being in a connected relationship, those things, the skills, they can be learned. They can be learned unless there is like some major thing. They can be learned. Now everybody's going to take different time. We're going to need different things, different tools, but those can be learned because they're skills. Skills can be learned. Skills are not just the end all be all. It's the doing. It's the being in the relationships. It's being connected. It's the commitment. That's what it is. It's about the commitment. That's what makes a musician, and that's what makes us being connected as humans. I get on my little soapbox about this, and I know my brain tends to find connections pretty fast in different things. Sometimes that is, it's not good because I think I've told you I have ADHD, so my brain is just like woo a lot of the time anyway. So sometimes it gets me distracted, but I will die on my soapbox. Even if nobody else agrees with me on this, I think skills are an important part of life, but they're not everything. And on that note, I will see you. Remember, I have my word of the year. Have you had your word of the year? The theme for the year for you? Because we get to make our own. We get to have. We have more responsibility in our life than we think we do. And we can set the tone. It's simply a choice. Bye.